We are live for another podcast. This is number 4, and we are going to be rolling for a long time on the podcast arena. And the reason being is that, to be honest, I just want to make sure everything is good. Auto start. There we go. We're already live. And we were originally going to be talking about money. And the reason being is that I've been thinking about money lately because of just a lot of people coming to me and saying, hey, listen, what about these ideas? Tax season just ended, hopefully, for a lot of people. But I just had a coaching call, and it really just shifted exactly what I needed to. What's going on, Adam? How we doing? It shifted something. So essentially, I'll just tell you a little overview about myself. So there's some kind of anecdotal, and then I'll go into the actual habits and what I talked about with my coach, which literally just wrapped up right now. So as some of you know, obviously COVID ended 2 years ago, or it went on for 2 years. It ended recently. I don't know if it actually ended. I have no idea. But since I don't follow the news, but I came out of it, have the coach, been triathlon training pretty consistently. So for myself is that there's habits that I've instilled in my life that I'm very proud of and very happy about. Sleeping, not drinking, triathlon training consistently, getting to the pool, running consistently, better nutrition, mindset is better, reading more. There's some big habits that I've instilled into my life. And one of the things is that I'm not happy about is that I am not at the office at 8 a.m. or before, which I always had before. In other words, I always use 2019 as my benchmark because really that was when I had my habits really dialed in. I was not drinking, I was not going out, I wasn't partying. I was doing all the things that I needed to do to be successful, okay? It's pretty obvious what those things are. Good night of sleep, you eat well, you get your energy right, positivity, feed your mind with just good things. And that's what I was doing in 2019, and it really showed up I was looking at my numbers within my triathlon races. They're all public, just go to Ironman. And I did 4 races in 2019, and I'm like, it's gonna take at least another year to get to those numbers because I'm just nowhere near those numbers. Maybe October I have a race, maybe I'll reach those numbers. But the reason I say that is that for me, when you're building a bridge, there's a keystone brick. In other words, back in the day, they would have this, and then the keystone brick, and you'll see it. It's kind of like a V shape. It's if you know math, that's probably a shape that I don't know. Parallelogram? No, that's when all the sides are parallel. Maybe it isn't. Anyway, that's the keystone. They call that the keystone because that's the keystone to the bridge. In other words, if that's pulled out, the bridge is going to collapse. A lot of the portions of the bridge can survive if a brick comes loose, but not the one in the middle because everything will implode on each other. And that's essentially our habits, is that you need a keystone. For some people, it's meditation. For some people, it's going to the gym. For me, it's definitely going to the gym. For some people, it's, I don't know, a good night's sleep. I can still go to the gym on a bad night's sleep. I'm not saying that's priority, but a lot of people, they'll skip things if they don't get a good night's sleep. And that's essentially what I was doing up until now, is that I've instilled all these really good habits in my life in the last month. And I'm really proud of those habits. But the problem is that the shiny red ball of the fun of implementing habits has gone away. Okay, and that happens anytime you buy something new. You get a new suit, you have a new girlfriend, they call it the Hollywood or the honeymoon phase, you get a new car, you get new shoes, whatever the case is. Tony Robbins talks about it all the time, is that you get a ding or buzz on your car, and then you get another one, then you get another one, then you get another one, and now you're just like, well, you know, it's a year and a half old. The glitz and the glam has kind of moved away from the excitement immediately of receiving it. In other words, the novelty. So the novelty of these habits have went away. All right? And this is going to happen to you because implementing running for 2 weeks is easy. That's easy, okay? And literally statistics are behind this, is that everyone makes January 1st, I want to do something. It's a New Year's resolution. I want to do X, Y, Z. Go to the gym. Gym memberships actually have the exact date. I think it's January 19th is when they see a significant drop off, and it just gets worse of people actually going to the gym. In other words, the first 2 weeks are the easiest. First 2.5 weeks are the easiest. You go to the gym, it's exciting, all these things. You're starting to see results. I'm sweating, I feel good. And then something happens, like a winter storm, or you're hungover, or you don't feel like going, or I want to reward myself by not going. And the thing is, that's really where the work starts, okay? So the whole title of this thing is the ability to be able to achieve goals comes down to the habits. And habits comes down to consistency, okay? Simon Sinek talks about it all the time. He says, hey, listen, I don't know when you're gonna get into shape. It could be 6 days, 6 weeks, or 6 months, or 6 years. I don't know when it is, but there will be a time where you wake up and you go, oh wow, I'm in shape. I feel pretty good. In other words, you don't know when it's gonna happen. You don't know when that habit is going to click, and you're going to say your identity changes from I go to the gym to I'm a gym goer, or I'm in shape, or for me is I'm an athlete, and I am because I'm actively doing races to qualify for the World Championships in 2024, 2025. It's a long way out, and I was thinking about it on my bike this morning. Is that I don't know when that time is that my body's ready to actually perform at a crazy high level, but each workout is necessary for that end goal, okay? You don't know when that sales call, or that you're approaching the pretty girl, or you ask the guy out, or you email a prospect, or whatever the case is. You don't know when it is, but if you don't do it, you know you're not gonna get that, all right? So the end result is the outcome, whatever that is. Then you break it down to what are the habits to achieve that end result, okay? Then you go back and what am I gonna do consistently every single day? Habits don't equal consistency. Here's an example. I have to get a good night's sleep to be able to perform well at the gym, okay? Is my sleep contingent on going to the gym? No, okay? But I'm gonna perform better. I'm gonna like the workout better. I'm gonna be able to run at a better pace or bike at a better pace. So really, the habits I have to do is, or are, go to the gym to make the World Championships, okay? So the outcome is World Championships. The habits are going to the gym. However, there's a bunch of consistent things that I need to do. Not drink, not eat late, not have coffee late, not stay up late, don't have blue light. Those are consistent things that I need to do to ensure my habit is done, to ensure that I get the outcome. Everything that I see is not really about adding in habits. Really what I see in a lot of people's lives is taking away, it's really not setting yourself up for failure, okay? I've told this story many times before, which is, I used to have the habit of going out on a Friday right before I go on a long bike ride on Saturday. And I would meet my buddy Jeff, and he would be on the West Side Highway in his bike gear, and then I would text him and say, hey, listen, dude, I know it's 7 a.m. I'm not gonna be able to hit you for the ride, or I'm not gonna be able to join you for this ride. And he just goes, listen, you got a habit of canceling on me, okay? So really, I was using the excuse of going out Friday night as my excuse to not bike on Saturday, okay? So really, the outcome that I wanted was to bike. The habits were to bike, but the consistency of not going out and getting a good night's sleep were sabotaging, self-sabotaging. I was doing this unconsciously on purpose to then have an excuse to then call Jeff and say, hey, dude, not making it today, enjoy the ride. And then he would post it on something called Strava, and it essentially tracks your workouts, and I see that he kicked ass, and he was getting better, he was getting faster, he was going there, he was getting more in shape, and I'm sitting there hungover each other Saturday saying, why am I not going on these bike rides? I'm hungover, that's a good excuse. I eat like shit, I'm hungover, that's a good excuse. But really, it started by saying yes on Friday, okay? All of these things really break down to two things, okay, is the identity that you say, but identity takes, as my coach said on my last call, it takes about a year to really, truly believe it, okay? But it takes about 66 days. To be honest, I personally think it takes about 3 months minimum to get a habit instilled. Maybe there's neurochemistry that actually happens in the brain that they wire together in 66 days. I know that the habit was around, I think it was fighter pilots or pilots or something like that. It took about 66 days where things were a little bit more autonomous on how they actually flew a plane. It was something along those lines. But I personally think that the identity of what you call yourself is more important than you doing the habits. In other words, if you write one blog, you're not a blogger, okay? But if you consistently write, you call yourself, I'm a writer, I'm a blogger. If you post one photo of going to the gym, you don't call yourself in shape or a gym goer. If you consistently go for 6 to 7 months, you go, I am that person who goes to the gym. And then you do something that is the pinnacle of habits, is you reverse engineer all the way to the day before, and the night before, and the evening before, and the afternoon before, and the day before. So in other words, if I'm waking up at 6, which I want to start doing, so what I'm doing, this is what I did wrong, is, and as my coach called me out on it, is the night before I would say, well, I operate and I need at least 8 hours of sleep. Okay, some people could do less. I need 8. Okay, the thing is, I haven't consistently been getting 8, and the reason being is that I haven't really been waking up at the time that I want. So I push it back, which then pushes my bedtime back as well. So if I'm waking up at 7 or 7:30, my bedtime is now later and later. I don't want that. I want it to go like that, where I'm waking up earlier and I'm going to bed earlier. So for me, as my coach said, is that you need to just do it, but before you go to bed, in other words, wake up early, but before you go to bed, you have to say to yourself, I'm gonna have an amazing workout, I'm gonna crush the workout tomorrow, and without reason or without fail, I'm gonna wake up. In other words, you do the affirmations in your head, because what I was using was the excuse that I didn't get 8 hours of sleep. But you're fine to not get it for one night, okay? What he said is, do it, not get 8 hours of sleep for one night. But this is the thing. The next night, you do get 8 hours. You do prioritize sleep. That's number one. Number two is your body's gonna start to acclimate, all right? I'm not acclimated to waking up earlier, and that's the number one habit I want to instill. So this whole concept and why I did this as a podcast and the title of No BS is because so many people are just saying, like David Goggins, love the guy. I love his mindset because it kind of kicks the little boy mindset that I have to the curb. And it kind of just says, just shut up. But the thing is with David is that his book was a little bit better than him saying, stop being a baby and things like that. Because as Jim Rome said, is that motivation is something you need daily, okay? And it could easily be broken down in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Okay, Atomic Habits is by far the best book on habits. You have Charles Duhigg, which is The Power of Habit. Then you have Mini Habits by someone else. I forgot who that is. That might be BJ Fogg. And I'm going to read all of them because habits are everything. But the first step is you have to understand, and here's the steps. Okay, I'm going to leave you on this because I got to pop out for an appointment. And if you have any questions, leave in the comments below, is that the first thing is what you want. And you got to be clear about this, okay? What is your outcome? So I'll go over mine. My outcome is 8 a.m. at the office. What is the habit to make sure I'm there at 8 a.m. every single day? And the reason being, you have to have the why. And the reason being for me, the why is because when I'm there at 8 a.m., I'm able to prospect for 2 hours, and then my whole day is already a win. I'm in sales. I need to prospect daily. I can't just show up and just hope things happen, okay? That's delusional thinking, okay? It's beyond delusional thinking to think that things are gonna happen to you without you doing any single action or effort towards it, which is where I completely differentiate myself from the whole law of attraction. The last 5 words, I've said it and I've heard it before, is that the last 5 letters, action. You got to take action. You can't just have this delusional thinking. I want a girlfriend. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to be wealthy. I want to be in shape. I want a loving relationship. I want my parents to love me. Whatever the case is, I want to move out of the house that I'm living in with my parents, or I want to get my own place. Whatever the case is, it's delusional thinking if you're not taking any actions to it. However, it's even more delusional to not even be specific about what you want to do, because it's like, well, there's a lot of things that I wanted to do. Someday I'll do this, okay? As Brian Tracy talks about, is you sit on someday island. You're on someday isle. Someday I'll get into shape. Someday I'll start making money. Someday I'll get the domain name. Someday I'll blah, blah, blah. The thing is, that island, someday I will blah, 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 and no one does it, is crowded. I put in my last Instagram post, is that there is a mass cowardice going on in society right now, okay, about differentiating yourself from someone else. It's actually a little embarrassing, to be honest, is that there's too many people out there that have this delusional thinking that them being in the crowd and accepted by the crowd is going to make them happy. You're being what the crowd wants you to be, okay? So you have to be extremely clear about your outcome. Whatever that is, you're going to get people who don't like it. And the reason being is because they are not achieving anything in their life. You have to upgrade your friends. You have to upgrade who you associate with. The book I'm reading right now by Jim Rohn, it's called 12 Pillars. It's unbelievable. It is just literally 150 pages or 200 pages. It's like, I wish more personal development books were like how they were written back in the day. Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, all these guys, just real quick, right to the point. And one of the chapters is about who you associate is who you become. Emotionally, stability, money, everything. What do you talk about? Do you go deeper? Are you growing? And he groups it into 3 different areas. You're gonna get people who don't like what you do. It's called growth. A lot of people want to stay stagnant. They want to stay average, okay? That's fine. Don't worry about it. You just, listen, this isn't a long life that we have. Like, we just have a limited blip here on this little ball of rock that's flying through the atmosphere, getting pulled by a burning gas of gases, the sun. So get clear, number one. I'll give you mine, because a lot of people, they need, I don't know, some direction. I want to be married. So what does that mean? I have to start dating. I also want kids. So I want someone who wants kids. We also have to be in alignment with a couple of things. I also need money for that. So that's part of the goal, is that you need to start having money for this marriage and the kids, which are expensive, okay? I also want to be in shape, so I have the energy to consistently show up at work, show up with my family, show up with the kids. So that's also eating well, sleeping right, getting educated on it, and doing it. But the outcome right now is so small, which is getting to the office at 8 a.m. That's so small. Charles, how are you going to accomplish that? And the reason being is that if I get there at 8 a.m., then I'm going to be able to prospect. If I prospect, I'm going to get business. If I get business, I feel better. Then I'm able to spend time with dating at a certain time, because I cut myself off from the rest of the workday at 4:30, 5 o'clock, shut down complete, as Cal Newport calls it, where you shut down and you don't think about work. Get very clear, that's the first. Then you say, what are the habits that I need to do to get the outcome, okay? And then what are the consistent items that I need to do to remove myself from the egotistical way of not accomplishing that? In other words, quit drinking, pornography, gaming, Netflix, sitting there and being lazy, social media, YouTube. There is an endless supply of things grabbing your attention. What are the things you need to delete from your life that are doing absolutely nothing besides draining your energy and draining your goals? So that's number 3. What am I gonna remove? And then the fourth thing which is before that, is you need to celebrate the person you are becoming. So that's the first thing. If you go to the gym, you celebrate, I am a gym goer. I am an athlete. I am in shape. Whatever the case is, you have to affirm your identity. Because once you affirm your identity, by the way, people do this all the time. I don't go to the gym. I'm not positive. I don't like wealthy people. I don't want to be wealthy. I'm never going to grow. I'm never going to find a spouse. I'm never going to have kids. That's all they're saying all day online. That's their identity, and they live consistent with their identity. Identity, what do you need to remove from your life? Then habits, and then you get your outcome. Don't even be worried about the outcome. Like I said in the beginning, it's not going to happen when you want it to happen. It's just going to happen, okay? And you don't know when. I don't know when I'm going to qualify for the World Championships for Kona. I don't know when I'm going to find a spouse. I don't know when I'm going to have kids. I don't know when I'm going to be wealthy. But if I'm consistently affirming my identity, I'm removing bad habits. First one is identity, removing bad habits, and I'm doing the right habits. Number 3, I will get the outcome. I'm not even worried about the outcome. You can't be worried about it because you're obsessing about something that you can't just make happen. I can't just make wealth happen. I can't just make somebody marry me. I can't just make my job and my business just explode to 80 agents and $1 billion which is exactly what I want in the future. So hopefully this helps. If you guys have any questions, obviously leave in the comments below. Going to be going live and definitely going to be talking about wealth. Definitely going to be talking about wealth because that is so necessary in today's world. And I'm also going to be doing book reviews. I know I'm going to say it again. It's going to happen. There's so many books on backlog. I finally got a better website, personal website, so it's a little bit easier to actually search through my book notes that I've